Hey you, yes, you! You know the difference between adjustment of fire and elevation mechanism?
Not really.
How about the effects of filters on your tank?
Well, they make your tank go faster.
Well, do you at least know which modification to research first?
Obviously, it's parts.
Correct! In this video, I will explain what the modifications of Warthunder do and which ones you should research first. There are some hidden features and modifications which you might not have known before. I've tested all the modifications with multiple vehicles with help from the people over at my Discord server. Speaking of my Discord server, you should join too. You can chat with the community, and we do weekly Hearthfire 4 and Warthunder community games. You can help me make my videos, and you'll get a shout out. Speaking of shoutouts, thanks to Vlad, and also Clack and Spank for letting me make this video possible. Anyways, enjoy the video. The mobility line is about the maneuverability of your tank. All these modifications have something to do with mobility. Some will increase the speed of your tank, and some will help you slow down faster. The first one we will be looking at will be tracks. The stock card tells that upgrading your tracks gives you more maximum inclination and better overall module strength. Better overall module strength just increases the amount of damage your tracks can take before you need to repair them. This is especially useful if playing strafe you mid-battle and your tracks get damaged. The more maximum inclination is also quite useful. If you have difficulty trying to climb a hill or a small inclination, the upgraded tracks will certainly help you. But what actually affects how much your tank can climb is the grip between your tracks and the ground. When you upgrade your tracks, the old ones get replaced with newer and stronger ones. That means that the tracks can grasp onto the ground better, thus letting you climb more. And this led me thinking, do upgrading your tracks also let you turn better? So, to test my theory, I got into a T-34 and started turning. How the T-34 turns is simple. It makes one track move forward while the other one doesn't move. As you can see, the tank has no trouble turning around when you have tracks upgraded. However, if you don't have tracks upgraded, the turning speed drastically goes down. The tank is trying to turn, but the tracks can't get enough grip onto the ground, thus the tank is unable to turn effectively. The tank needs a little nudge to turn better. As a part 2 to my test, I tried the same experiment with the RE251. The RE251 uses both tracks to turn. One track moves forward while the other one goes backwards. With the tracks upgraded, the tank turns easily. If you don't have tracks upgraded, it's a whole new story. As you can see, the tank has no trouble turning at first, but then the tank started moving forward for some reason, and then it started going backwards. I'm only holding down the D key to turn right though. In summary, tracks are worth upgrading. Although they don't change the speed of your tank, the increased maximum inclination and faster turning speed is a nice thing to have. The stat card tells us that upgraded suspensions give you better suspension damping. That basically means that the turret should be steady when moving. So, to test this, I got to a tiger tank and started moving forwards. As you can see, there isn't much difference. Although it does make the gun slightly more stable, it isn't going to have a big impact on how you aim in combat. But the reason there isn't much difference is because the tiger's hull and the gun equalize each other. So I did the same test but with a T-34-85, since the gun on the T-34 is a lot heavier in comparison to the hull. As you can see, the T-34 with the suspensions upgraded seems to be a bit less stable, but when you brake, the suspensions help a lot. So, firing on the move is still a bad idea, but when you see an enemy, the suspension will help you brake and aim at the target faster. Upgrading tracks do what you think they would do. They help you slow down faster. I will demonstrate this with an M18 using the short brake. As you can see, it shortens the distance needed to fully stop. The heavier and faster the tank, the more useful the brakes are. Since the M18 is fast and heavy, the brakes are more useful than on something like a BT7, since a BT7 is much lighter. According to the stat card, upgrading filters, transmission and engine gives your tank more horsepower and lowers the acceleration speed. It also says that upgrading the engine gives your tank double the amount of upgrades as filters or transmission. Here's an excellent one with no speed modifications installed. It reached 40 km an hour in 8.45 seconds and its top speed was 51 km an hour. The stat card says that upgrading the engine is the same as upgrading transmission and filters, so I decided to do a test to confirm that. As you can see, they both reach 40 km/h in 6.90 seconds and their top speed was 52 km/h. However, something to note is that upgrading engine costs the same as upgrading transmission. Therefore, upgrading engine first rather than upgrading transmission is a much better idea. Up next will be the protection line. These modifications are about the general survivability of your tank. If you have these modifications installed, you have a much better chance of surviving in the field. The first modification we will be looking at will be parts. Parts is the most vital modification that you can install. Imagine you're in combat and you get shot at. With parts installed, you can repair whichever piece of your tank that was damaged. If you don't have parts installed, however, you can still repair by going to a cap point and repairing your tank. FP is the second most important modification. With FPE installed, you can extinguish a fire in your tank caused by another player. Without FPE, the only chance of you surviving is by going into a lake and getting out without getting drowned. If you do neither of those, your tank will be unoperational in a matter of seconds. With crew replenishment, you can restore a fallen tank crew by going to a cap point. The game will automatically choose which crew member is most important, so it won't get a machine gunner when you have no tank loader, since a tank loader is much more important than the machine gunner. In any game mode, you can still repair your tracks without parts. In arcade, you can still repair your tank without parts, but they won't be as good as they used to be before being damaged. Also in arcade, you can replenish your crew anywhere you want. If you only have one crew member left, it automatically replenishes your crew. Add-on armor gives your tank additional armor packages. Sometimes it'll be tracks on the side of tanks, and sometimes it'll be ERA packages. The extra armor has a downside though, it increases the weight of the tank and slows it down. So, I tested this with a Panther D. As you can see, the difference between the two is minuscule, and the distance needed to stop is pretty much the same. So, if you research add-on armor, you should definitely equip it. The armor might come in handy. The final modification we will be looking at will be the firepower line. This line is all about the weaponry of your tank. Some of them are the turret, while some are about the cannon itself. The first modification we will be looking at is the horizontal drive. Upgrading horizontal drive increases the turret slewing rate. Slewing means turning on axis, so the horizontal drive should increase how fast your turret can turn. The best way to test this will be with an anti-air vehicle, and in this example, the Coelian. The stats say that upgrading horizontal drive adds an additional 7.5 degrees per second to the turret slewing rate. Here's a test between an upgraded Coelian and a Coelian without the horizontal drive upgraded. As you can see, the upgraded Coelian made a full rotation 1.23 seconds quicker than the Coelian without the horizontal drive upgraded. The difference isn't too great, but this modification is very important in anti-air vehicles, since not turning fast enough can lead to your vehicle getting bombed or strafed by enemy planes. In other tanks, however, the other firepower modifications are much more important. The description of this modification explains it best. Adjustment of fire improves fire accuracy. This modification is very important for tank destroyers, heavy tanks, and generally for sniping as well. To show you the effects of this modification, I used a Tiger 2 and shot a T10M about 1 kilometer away. As you can see, the shells go all around the place. It never hits the place I'm aiming at. Now, the exact same test, but with adjustment of fire upgraded. It went directly where I aimed at. You should see how important this modification is now. If you don't have it upgraded, the shell would hit where you didn't aim and the enemy would be alerted of your position. The Airstrike modification is only available to light tanks since they're the only ones who can use a scout mechanic. It has two different effects, one for arcade and one for RB and sim. In arcade, if you scout someone and they get killed, you can join an air battle that was started by an ally, and in RB and sim, after you scout someone and they get killed, the SP cost for aircraft get reduced. You can also research new types of ammunition. If you want to learn more about ammunition in War Thunder, check out my ammo types explained videos in the info card above. Upgrading elevation mechanism is sort of mixed between horizontal drive and adjustment of fire. It increases the speed of your gun's elevation, and it increases the vertical accuracy of your weapon as well. To test the elevation speed, I use a ZIS 12, since the elevation mechanism is very important in anti-air vehicles. As you can see, with the elevation mechanism upgraded, the vertical turret speed was faster. Now, here's a test of the vertical accuracy. With the Waffenträger without the elevation mechanism upgraded, the shells go all around the place, but with the Waffenträger with the elevation mechanism upgraded, the shells go exactly where you aim. There are three types of smoke: smoke grenades, ESS, and smoke shells. I covered smoke shells in my ammo types part 2 video. Smoke grenades are launched with special launchers and they can be used to hide your position. They last about 15 to 20 seconds. ESS is short for Engine Smoke Generating System. Instead of the smoke launching in front of you, it comes from your engine. It can be used to cover your teammates, or you can hide behind it after you generated the smoke. Artillery Strike allows you to launch an artillery barrage against your enemy. It isn't very accurate, but it can be used as a makeshift smoke system to blind your enemies or disable their tracks. In Arcade, the artillery reloads once you kill enough players, but in RB or Sim, it reloads after a set amount of time. The reload of the artillery and the accuracy of it depends on your crew skills. The improved optics is another modification for light tanks. It allows you to scout players further away. In Arcade, however, this modification also lets you detect players further away as well. This is an overall decent modification for light tanks. The Rangefinder is a vital modification for any tank. It allows you to see how far your enemy is and how high you need to aim. There are two types of rangefinders, the regular rangefinder and the laser rangefinder. The regular rangefinder is not as precise as the laser rangefinder and is mainly found on late World War II tanks. It allows you to range find further and faster than your crew can. The laser rangefinder is very precise and is found on modern tanks. It is incredibly fast and can range find much further than your crew can. Well, that about wraps up this video. Now, here's the order of modifications you should research in most tanks. Parts, FBE, horizontal drive, adjustment of fire, a different type of ammunition if possible. To know which ammo to research, check out my ammo types explained videos. Crew replenishment, elevation mechanism, another type of ammunition if possible. This can be researched last if it's a useless round such as the heat rounds in German tanks. Rangefinder, smoke, research smoke launchers first if you have the choice. Artillery support, and improved optics and airstrike if you're in a light tank. After you research all of that, you should go for engine, transmission, filters, tracks, brake system, add-on armor, and finally, suspension. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to join my Discord server and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one.